Hello, everyone, and welcome to our monthly virtual agency fair. I'm Sarah, and I am here with Heather and Dan from Exceptional Family Resources. I am so excited to have you guys on. We have been amazing partners and friends with you guys for so long, and you are just such a valuable resource to so many of our families. So I only thought necessary to have you guys on and explain all the amazing things that you guys are doing at Exceptional Family Resources. But first, I'd love just to kick it off and do a little intro for you guys. Dan, hello.
Oh, hi, I'm Dan Kelly, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Exceptional Family Resources, and I guess one of the chief mouthpieces today as well too. And so, I'll let Heather introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Heather Ziner. I'm the marketing coordinator here at Exceptional Family Resources. And I'm here just to support Dan.
Keep me out of trouble. So I think one thing we might say in the intro is like I was telling you just before this too, is that David's Refuge has a lot of fans here at Exceptional Family Resources. So we really appreciate the opportunity to come on and be on your TV show.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. We really appreciate you guys doing this as well. And also just what we were talking about just a few minutes before here is, Dan, you are actually one of our families. So that just really brings it back. And it's just so special that you're really a part of this in all ways possible. So thank you for being here.
True. I have two girls with special needs, and my wife and I are actually one of, I think we're one of the year 2 couples that went in year 2 of the whole thing, when it was teeny tiny and small, and before it blew up into this big, huge, wonderful thing that it is now. Oh. So it was small and wonderful then. Now it's just amazing and wonderful and big.
Thank you.
And so it's really good to see.
Well, thank you. We are so grateful. So I want to talk more about you. We know how amazing we are, but we want to hear all about how amazing you guys are.
Well, we'll brag about us too. Yeah. So.
Please do. I'd love just to hear a little history. How did Exceptional Family Resources come to be?
Well, I think that we have the common answer that most agencies that provide services for individuals with developmental disabilities do. And really what we started is back in the 70s as it was really just a group of family members that got together. You know, if you think back to the 70s, or some folks can't think back that far because they weren't born yet, but back at that time, it wasn't the greatest time for in our society for individuals with developmental disabilities. But a lot of stigma. The R word was a regular word, and you know, you had all those kind of things. So you can imagine parents didn't have a lot of support. They didn't have a lot of support in schools. The knee jerk was send them to an institution or certified setting of some sort or whatever. And so this group of parents got together and decided, they formed what they called the Parents Information Group for Exceptional Children. And it was really just loose knit kind of group of families that got together and just talked about supporting each other and what could we do different about supporting each other. So over time, though, what they did was they started to advance towards becoming an agency, which so in 1976 they got their 501c3, and around somewhere in that time, don't know all the history, but they changed the name to Exceptional Family Resources. One little piece of trivia for future trivia questions are, you know, why did they change the name? And if you think about the acronym, our CEO was pointing this out the other day. Parents Information Group is PIG. And so what they did is they switched to Exceptional Family Resources, which, to be honest with you, I don't think there could be a better name. I think it's a perfect brand for what we do. And so, but I mean, the rest is history. One real important part of our history, should mention, is recent history, is that Onondaga Community Living merged into Exceptional Family Resources. Now, OCL was a smaller organization, about $5 million size or whatever, but it was an organization that the prior director of that had been a real pioneer in person-centered supports and inclusiveness, and this interesting model of housing persons in the community in their own living situations, where their own apartments, their own houses, and sort of wrapping services around them to help keep them in. And so she was a huge pioneer in that, and OCL was still known for that. In fact, when I started as the executive director there, I got a few calls from people from Australia and New Zealand and Ireland and like that. And they were people all calling because they wanted to hear more about the OCL model, because she had already done some work with some of the folks out there. And so that's how well known it was. So anyway, moral of the story is you had two organizations that merged together that have very shared values. What we really believe at EFR and believed at OCL was that we should support people to live in the community of their choices, and that we should not make the knee-jerk assumption that every individual that has a diagnosis needs to go into some sort of higher level of care to be taken care of. That there are lesser versions, that we can keep people in a less integrated setting. We can give people the option to live in their own apartments. We can give people the opportunity to take advantage of the same things in the community that we all take advantage of, but maybe take for advantage, you know. And so with those shared values, we took two financially solid agencies and we brought them together. And since that point, we've really dedicated ourselves to that and dedicated ourselves to service to people. We don't want to be the biggest agency. We just want to be the best, and best equals taking care of the people who need our support. It's doing the work we're supposed to do for the people we're supposed to do it for.
Absolutely.
So I digress. Okay. All right.
That was fantastic. And I just love how you were started, you know, advocating for children. And, you know, that's exactly what you guys are doing. And that's, I feel like the core of who you guys are advocates and, you know, being that support. So kudos to you guys. It's absolutely amazing.
I don't think there's any person on our staff that wouldn't be proud to hear you say that.
Well,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's very true. So, I'd love to hear what are your goals? So a family, you know, learns about Exceptional Family Resources. What can they expect from you? How can they get involved?
So, well, in terms of, are you talking about in terms of intake process or
all of the things that you guys have to offer? Tell me all of the different levels people can get involved in you guys.
Great. So we have a plethora of different services. It's really important. I always like to say this, is that we don't have residences. We don't have certified settings. We don't do group homes. We don't do that kind of stuff. Not that we're against them. The only reason I bring that up is because most people who aren't familiar with the field and aren't hugely familiar with individuals with developmental disabilities sort of presume that if you work in an agency that provides services to those folks, that you provide residences, and we don't do that. We're all community based, 100% community based. So the things we're doing are like community habilitation, which has a wide array of services or things that we can work on towards people's independence. So some of that might be people want to feel more integrated into the community. So art classes. We have folks we support to go to college right now, both at SU and also at OCC. And so we have some folks that we support to do that. We support folks to work in jobs, and that's anywhere from I think maybe someday I'd like to have a job, all the way to working in a job and being supported in that job. So somebody that's there maybe to help you get those basic directions down so that you can be successful in the job. And what I always say that too, no sheltered workshops. These are real jobs at real places in the community, like anyone else of us could be working. And so that's what our real focus is. And on top of that, we have respite for families, right? We have self-directed services. So individuals can actually hire their own staff if they want to, based on an annual budget that our team works and helps them create to figure out how to use that. We also have this great recreation team now, and they're really they're taking on some steam, aren't they? And just creating recreational events and opportunities like social club type events and like that. So it gives the folks that we serve an opportunity to socialize. And at the same time, it also very often is giving the parents a break, right? Which is something you all can relate to, right? And so that's really starting to evolve and come together. We got a couple really great folks with a lot of energy, like the David's Refuge people, who are coming up with some really, really great events and doing some nice.
Where are you hosting events? Where are you guys hosting these?
Yeah, so they do a regular event on Fridays. A group of individuals that participate lovingly named it Funtastic Fridays, and they meet at the Redeemer Covenant Church. So they do anything from crafts to snacks to drumming to music to dancing. It's really driven by the individuals that participate in the programs. Again, like Dan said, the two individuals that we have that run our rec programs are great at listening and just being creative, and are full of energy and are always looking at fun and new opportunities. They've done hiking at Green Lakes Park over the summer. We have a Halloween dance coming up, a trick-or-treating event. They're looking at also collaborating and creating some partnerships with some community organizations to create some more opportunities for individuals within the community.
Well, give us a call.
Yes.
And coming to a community near you probably very soon is Friday night dances. As you might know, the place that was doing the dance, it was very regular for a long time, kind of went out of business or whatever. And so we've renegotiated one of our FSS contracts to enable us to be able to begin to provide some of those again. So it's early on. We're probably still a couple months out before those start, but that's a great example. So, you know, one other special thing should mention about Exceptional Family Resources, one of our more unique programs is we have the Senior Caregivers Program as well. And that's a service we provide. So there's individuals out in the community that their parents are getting up into their late 70s and 80s and like that, who have never had a minute of service, right? So it's just the family said, we'll take care of them and we're going to do it and all that. And then they hit a point where they're aging out and it's becoming hard for them to do. And they're of course worried about, you know, what's going to happen to my son or my daughter, you know, once I pass away. So Heather Hodge Teepolt, our person who is a very dedicated person, she'll go out and she'll work with the person and the family, go back and do a lot of research. She's a great Sherlock Holmes. She goes back, she finds out all the stuff, she gets them then qualified for OPWDD services. So that they can begin getting services, then get them connected to care management and through that whole process, so they can start to be supported in that way and then bring the relief. And I don't know of a lot of places that are actually doing that. And I'll tell you, there's nobody that'll do that like Heather Hodge Teepolt does. I was going to say, Heather's
such a caring and nurturing person. So literally consider somebody literally taking your hand and just walking you through that process of enrollment and eligibility process and helping you guide you to the front door and through that whole process. So
that is something we hear all of the time from our families, just like, where do I get started? I am in a sea of paperwork. I don't even know what to do. It's forever, always changing. So that in itself is a huge, it's an exceptional family resource, right?
It is exceptional,
right. Yes, it is. And it's even harder when the person looking for them is 54 and you're supposed to prove that their disability started before age 22. And so you're going way back. Heather right now is commiserating with school districts and things in Philadelphia at this time, because one of the folks that newly came on, that's where they had received services and had gotten diagnostic type stuff that happened. So it's quite a process, but she's a rock star.
I love that.
She really is, especially in the day and age of electronics, trying to go back and obtain paper trail records and following that paper trail is overwhelming for anybody, let alone somebody that is aging and isn't quite as familiar with the digital processes. So,
oh wow,
there's an absolute rock star, like you said, Dan, with that whole process.
That's right.
That's awesome. So tell me, what would be a first step for a family that has newly learned about Exceptional Family Resources, how to get involved with you guys?
I think a really the best thing is to call us.
Okay.
just call up and say, you know, I'm interested in talking about services. If you know the specific service that you want, we'll try to get you directed to the person who's best suited to help with that. We do have intake coordinators, and we have folks that can help explain some of that stuff, and they'll get you to that person. But you know, if it's somebody that's just like, I'm not really sure about services, I don't know much about them or whatever, I'd like to talk to somebody, even if we don't wind up the agency that serves them, we're happy to chat with them and help them get through. So we also have one other program. It's through a county grant, but Karen Adams, I think, which all of you are pretty familiar with. Karen is she is a super resource to families that are just trying to figure out services. And so calling Karen is also a great way to do that. And it also helps us check a box on a grant, and helps us keep that grant, you know, to show that we're helping connect people up. But you know how Karen is. She's just she's a superstar. She knows everything. And right, are we putting any pressure on her? But
Karen can handle it. If anyone can handle it, Karen can handle it. Trust me. She really is. She's a walking resource. She has experience personally and professionally. That is one of the greatest attributes that we could ever ask for. Is it for that a person in that role?
She's also very passionate
she's
too about
very passionate
about helping folks out.
Genuinely wants to make sure that individuals are exhausting all resources available, or at least making that educated decision on what options are available.
I'll connect her just general information in this in the description here, so people can
so and I mean, along that line, if somebody just saw us on the video and said, I don't want to talk to some stranger, I'm very familiar with you two right now, we would be happy to answer phone to anyone. We're a pretty flat organization. Our CEO will talk to anybody. It's just we're pretty easygoing, we're very welcoming, and we're exceptional. So we like to talk, we like to be a part of things, and we want to be helpful.
That being said, we at David Refuge, we're a pretty small organization as in numbers. We have 7 people in our office. How large, how big of office do you guys have? How many people are working for Exceptional Family Resources?
Do you want to?
Yes, Dan.
So we actually have 2 offices. So we have the main office here at 820 Lemoyne Ave. Here in Syracuse, and we have about, I think it's about 86 what we call admin or support staff, office staff, sometimes they get called, that work out of this location. Then we have an office in Fulton, in Oswego County. Up there, we probably have about 4 staff that are technically staffed there, and then we have sort of a flow through. So if our brokers or our FIs or our ComHab staff or whatever, they have an intake to do out there or something like that, they can utilize that office to take advantage of that opportunity of having a space. And you know, a new cool thing is we've been renting a space. We actually just bought the building next door, and so doing a little bit of work on that to sort of tweak a space in there to make that work for us. But we're really excited about, you know, we're being homeowners now in Fulton, and that makes you part of the community.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Be part of the community up there. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's awesome. So I'd love to hear, you know, a success story, a story of a family that, you know, has been a part of Exceptional Family Resources.
So we have a million of them, but we did pick one really cool one that we got a little misty over recently. So
there's a few, and our staff are always excited to share different stories and success, a lot of successes that happen with the individuals that we support. One of the programs that Dan had spoke to recently was our employment services. So we have an individual that we supported as a custodian through the Syracuse School District, and he retired after 44 years of service in the district. So he was born in the 60s, and as we know that individuals born in the 60s were also often either remained home or were put in an institutional type setting, unfortunately. And this individual, he ended up kind of defying the odds, right? Especially in that time, and became actively employed in the community. He applied in 1968. He applied to be the National Art Poster Child, and he was selected from more than 1,000 applicants.
Wow.
Yeah. So when asked when he won, he was asked what he kind of his takeaway from that, and he just said he really likes being nice to people. I'm like, how more genuine does that get, right?
Beautiful.
Yeah, so it was one of the individuals we shared, and some of our staff were able to attend his retirement party. The school community had actually thrown him a going away party. It was a sweet story, and how amazing that an individual born in the 60s is able to find gainful employment and really advocate. And his parents, I believe, advocated a lot for him as well. And remained employed for 44 years.
That's incredible. I think one thing that just people don't know about you guys is just how many different levels. It doesn't matter what stage the caregiver is in their journey, you guys are truly a resource for them. So absolutely. I'd love to hear if you have anything you guys don't think people understand or don't know about Exceptional Family Resources that you can explain. Or
I have a pet peeve I'd like to share.
Oh, sure. I'd love it.
So I had mentioned before this, I have two daughters with special needs. So my daughter, Caitlin, she's 18. She has Down syndrome. My daughter, Evelina, she's 15. She has Down syndrome and autism. I also add this too, that she was adopted internationally. And so she was almost 3 years old when she got home to us. She had never had any early intervention, or she didn't have any care like that. And so she's had a few setbacks. So, but Down syndrome features and autism and like that aren't such a secret to folks in our society and like that. And so we get questioned a lot, so, and you know what, we're actually a family that appreciates the questions. The kids come up, does she have autism? Does she have that? And we really love that because we think that's real inclusive. So we don't mind the people who come up in the community and say, oh, do they get services? What I mind is they say, do they get services? Where do they get services? Access CNY or ARC? Probably ARC, right? When they go like that, and I want to go, no, Exceptional Family Resources. And it's like, so I'll tell them Exceptional Family Resources, and sometimes, a lot of the times, they'll say, oh, I think I've heard of them. And that is something I would really, really like to have change. I know I work here. I know I'm the COO and all that. So I'm tasked with saying things like this about the organization. But one day what I'm hoping is I'm going to be walking through the community and somebody's going to ask me, oh, do your girls get services? Do they get services at Exceptional Family Resources? Yes. That's what I'm looking to have happen. And you're helping us, I hope, with that today.
So one of the questions that Liz had, if you could explain just that process of getting childcare funding for if a family goes on a respite weekend with us, what would be a first step that we would tell them to have childcare funding as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of for us and our part at here, I mean, the best thing would be is to have them call us. And I would love it if those individuals would call myself or Heather like that, so that we can sort of do what we need to do within the agency to make that happen.
Absolutely.
We have a program called Take a Break Respite. And that is there's some county funding to support that. And so what we've done is we've talked about how can we best utilize that in a way that could enable some support, maybe some weekends, some support and things like that. We have since moved that service from from under where it was to under a new area. So it's still figuring some of that stuff out. But that would be, if it came directly to us, we could go sort of work on that piece and that part. So, I mean, a person would have to show that they're OPWDD eligible. And what's really important is that they don't already have a self-direction budget or another form of respite that can be supported to them. There's not a lot of money in that fund. And so what we need to do is we need to try to target people who need that specifically. Is to do that. But you know, folks that have self-direction budgets through us and like that, we can, that team will work with them about how to utilize staff that they have through whole weekends. There's ways to do that, and they can help them figure out the hours and all that. And so we have that as well. What else am I not covering in there? One of the things we're really trying to link up with you guys is as we get to our dance events and what you would formerly called our Parents Night Out events are now going to be called Community Night Out.
Nice.
And so a lot of those events, the parents can come with the individuals to them, or a sibling or a staff member or a DSP or whatever can actually come with them to that event if they want to do that. And then what we're looking forward to is coordinating with you all a little bit better on, like, when you do some of your family, your parents night events or whatever, then maybe we can have some of those events at the same time, so their kids can come on. We'll take care of them while you do that. So
yes, I love it. I absolutely love that. So one last question, and we had chatted about this earlier. Tell me about where you serve, what locations, counties, New York or beyond, that can be a part of your services.
So we can serve anywhere in the central New York region. Probably easiest to think our main services that we're supplying, if you checked all the zip codes of folks that are enrolled in services with us right now, the lion's share would be in either Onondaga County or Oswego County. That's where we have the most. But we're pretty much scattered all through the contiguous counties, so all the counties next to, right? So Cayuga County, and I always forget where Casanopia is. You should know, but I for whatever reason I draw a blank on that. But we even have some folks as far down as Cortland County.
Cortland, Madison.
Madison, thank you. That's
so he's asking Madison. The girl that grew up in Rochester.
But she has a better memory.
Dan, I'm here for you.
Her mind works better.
Good to keep her around for sure.
We also provide self-direction services in Westchester County, downstate too. So that's more recent, but been around for a little while too.
So really, first steps, I will, if people are interested in just learning more, seeing how they can get involved literally in any step, to reach out to you guys, see if their county is correct, but then just to move forward with all of your exceptional resources for them.
Yeah, and in most cases, even if the county is not a typical area that we've worked in, if there's some way we can do that without being a disservice to the person, we're probably going to give it a try. It wouldn't be the first time. Like, our employment team before has gotten approvals to work in counties farther west than we're usually able to work. And there's a process through the Department of Social Services and all that to get some approvals and agreements, but we've been able to do that. And so we're willing to make the reach if we can do that. In most of those circumstances, we prefer that the person already has an idea about who they want to serve. They just really need the agency to be involved. But you know what? We have a particularly a guy who oversees our employment, Lawton Williamson. He's actually famous for finding DSPs that live within 2 miles of the person they want to serve. And he'll always talk about it like it's just, hey, this is dumb luck. Hey, how did this happen? And it's like, there's no way it's dumb luck, because it happens to him all the time. You know what I mean? If it was lottery tickets, he'd be a billionaire by now. You know what I mean? And so it's something that he's doing when he does it. So the version of that is we have folks that are very willing to do some of those searches and to help out with that. And again, we don't want to be the biggest agency. We don't want to have the widest spread across the state. We just want to be the best, and we really, really do want to be of service. We figure the rest of that stuff will take care of itself. But
absolutely. Well, you guys are amazing. Thank you for all that you do for our families. Thank you for being such an amazing support to David's Refuge. We are beyond grateful for your partnership with us throughout the years. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with both of you. And I'm sure we will collaborate, and I will see you both very soon.
I'm looking forward to
hoping.
it.
Hope so. Yes.
Well, you have a wonderful day, and I will link both of your contact information as well as the website in this information below. Thanks, guys.
Fabulous. Yeah, and anyone can hit that information and give us a call. We're happy to chat.
Anytime.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
You, Sarah.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.